Welcome to the show, folks. This is Wrestling Changed My Life. Here we go.
We can endure anything and adapt and pivot and change. Wrestling gave us that ability.
I would say nothing in life has impacted me more than the things wrestling has taught me in terms of self-reflection, resilience.
Toughness. Some guys have it, some guys don't.
Adversity, 100%. How to pick myself up and be a man after I failed.
And everything that has shaped my life and where I'm at today would not be there without the values and basically the lessons I've learned through the sport of wrestling.
For me, wrestling saved my life because it allowed me to focus and channel my energy.
We're fortunate if you wrestle, because if you wrestle, natural talent helps, but it's 5% of the ingredient. It pales in comparison to heart and technique and effort.
It humbled me, taught me humility. Nothing can humble you more than wrestling. I think it's the learning to adapt, right? You learn how to adapt, you learn how to solve problems.
You know, if I look back at my time I spent wrestling, if it gave me one thing more than anything else, it's mental toughness.
Welcome to Wrestling Changed My Life, and happy Friday, y'all. Another week is in the books, and I just wanted to say thank you. I appreciate the shit out of you folks, and I'd still be doing this even if you weren't listening, but it really makes it a lot more fun when all of you folks are listening, and it's just been a blast this summer. So thank you so much for tuning in. Today we are dropping the first of our Fan of the Week spotlights, and what these are short interviews with listeners of the show who have their own story to tell. And today's with Justin Folley. Justin opens up about how wrestling helped him get through some tough times in high school. So I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for tuning in. We'll talk to you next week. Peace.
So in high school, I actually struggled a lot, just with like my grades and stuff. Some of my teachers were even worried about me even graduating high school. But I stayed focused, and I even tried my best, but like it was some teachers actually in high school where I was like actually needed some help, and some of them wasn't even willing to stay after. So at that time I knew like I had to like do this thing on my own, because even though I have both my parents in my life, like it's still all on me, because I'm the one that was getting up early, catching a school bus, and then going to class. So
you were still the one carrying the burden of that whole thing, so to speak.
Yep. And I was always afraid to tell my parents what I was going through, because I feel like, me as a man, like I should be able to cope with this and learn from my mistakes. So
how early were you when you started feeling that pressure that you couldn't go to your parents about it?
I was like, I was about like 17. I was like 17, 18. So I was still learning at the time. I don't know why I was afraid. I guess I was just, I didn't, want them to worry about what I was going through, because, they still paid the bills and stuff like that. So I didn't want them to add to that.
So was it that you didn't want to kind of have them worrying about you? Because I feel the same thing, right? If I'm having something go wrong in my personal life, a lot of times I might not tell my mom because I don't want her to worry about me,
Right. I don't want them to like over worry, because it's like once they start worrying, like it doesn't really make a positive effect. But like sometimes you just gotta fake it, and once you do make it through, it's like the best thing in the world, because you learn from all your mistakes, and once you get to an age where it's like, okay, I'm mature, I've been here before, like this is not going to affect me as bad as it did before.
And it's like you can only know that and have that confidence if you've been there and been at maybe not rock bottom, but at some kind of low point where like maybe you're walking home from school or you're driving your car home from school and you're feeling kind of guilty about yourself that, hey man, I'm struggling with school and I don't want to take it to my parents. So you're kind of carrying all that weight yourself. And so at those low moments,
right,
you remember that. Right. And so now when you're in life,
right,
you can look back and be like, man, I've been here, boy, shit. Like this ain't, a wrestling match. That's easy. Right. Compared to kind of carrying the burden of like bullying or not being up to snuff in school. And the problem is that a lot of people judge success based on your grades, right? And that's not always the measurement of
Right, and that's not always the case.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean that's a lot to carry around. And then so like, did you like when you got to college? Did you start to kind of experience some new teachers, or how did that kind of unfold in college? Because I know now your grades are up to snuff and you're doing real well.
When I got to college, my freshman year of college, I went to, JUCO college and got my grades up. Was on the honor roll 2 years from there, graduated with my, associate's degree. But at the time, like, I'm the type of person that's like, if you drive me out to a place and leave me there for 10 days and give me a certain amount of money and some clothes and everything, I would be fine. Like, I learned how to take care of like myself, just because the things that I struggled with throughout high school.
And you can grind it out because you've been there. Now, let's go back to, you said something else that kind of caught my attention, because I did not do well in the ACT either. I think I did like a low from my high school. I don't know what it was. It was not good though. And I remember thinking the same thing. I go, you know what, man? I'm kind of mad at everyone who did well now, which is not the right mindset to have. Like, being jealous of someone else's success is a losing mentality. Right. That's not the way to do it. But as a young man, you're kind of feeling hurt a little bit that you're left out, and so you convert that energy into jealousy to kind of make your ego feel okay. And so you sounds like you went through that same thing as well.
Right. Yep. And I just feel like all my friends are, talking about like they. I got this on the AC test on like a 20, like 28, 30s, and I was just like, I feel just kind of, left out because I feel like I'm not on that, that level of like being smart yet. And that's how I felt, because like, I just felt really like low at myself, because I'm like, if my friends aren't succeeding, then why am I not succeeding? Like, what am I doing wrong? But one thing I learned is that you have to go through something in order to be successful. Like, you can't be afraid to like fail. You know what I mean? You just gotta.
Well, and you can't compare yourself to others. Like, all that pain that you experience, that pain came from a feeling of unworthiness, because you were comparing yourself to somebody else, and who knows what they're going through, or who knows what you're going through. And again, maybe that's just not a good measure of your intellect or your drive or your grit. And it's like, the one thing they know now is, through a lot of studies, and there's a book called Grit by Angela Duckworth, and they measure what characteristic is likelihood of success. And IQ is important, but it's not the most important. The most important is this characteristic called grit, which is the willingness to persevere against obstacles, like in the face of obstacles, right? So like, you definitely have grit. Like, you were in the face of obstacles, you had bounced around schools, you had gotten a low ACT score, so you had every excuse in the book just to hang it up and go get a job down the street. Instead, you used your drive and the confidence you learned from wrestling, because wrestling had to teach you confidence when you're not getting it from school.
Right. Yep.
So you have this confidence, and now you get to college, and it's like, you're a 2-time All-American at JUCO, and you're on the honor roll, and then you get to Division II school. You're at Upper Iowa now. You were at All-American last year, and now you're looking to become a 4-time All-American, which it's like, dude, who would have thought that at 7th grade for you, right?
Right, and the crazy thing is, like, I would never have saw myself this far. You can ask any one of my family members, like, the way I was just struggling in school, like, all my life growing up, like, I just didn't see myself. I didn't see myself here. But I think, like, because I'm a really religious person, so I feel like God has special people picked out, because even the crazy thing is, it's like, it's super smart people that I grew up with, like, in the classroom, that's not doing nothing with their lives right now. And I just look back and I'm like, man, it just tells me a lot, because I'm like, I feel like the people who struggle the most have the most drive, because they have that burden on their back, and that's with anybody.
No question about it. And yeah, to your point, no, a lot of people who grew up in households where the mom and dad were around and they had a lot of money, and maybe not even a lot of money, but decent money, and they got new clothes all the time, and we didn't get new clothes
New
but
cars.
once a year, new cars. Yeah, I mean, we got $100 at Christmas to go to the mall and buy whatever we wanted, and we got a new outfit before school. That was it. Like, there was no shopping. That was it, man.
Right.
And like a lot of those things just make you feel insecure as a young man. But again, it all comes back to comparing yourself to others and knowing yourself, right? If you know that, hey,
Yep.
yeah, I might not get the best grades, but I determine my success based on my effort and energy into wrestling, then you're successful regardless of what the outside score is. Same thing for any type of endeavor, right? If you know yourself and don't compare yourself to others, and you put in the work, it's not just saying something and not doing it, putting in the work, I think you're going to have drastically different experiences throughout life. And all great things must come to an end. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, give us a review, give us a rating, and share this with your friends. It would mean the world to us. Thanks for listening to Wrestling Changed My Life.